If you feel a girl's losing interest, if you sense that she's pulling away, what can you do to turn things around, change her mind, and have her chasing you again? That's what I'm going to reveal in this video. Hi, I'm Bobby Rio, and one of the big questions that we get is, what can I do to reignite attraction when a girl starts to slip away? In fact, Rob Judge and I, we were out to dinner recently with a few of our friends, and one of our friends, one of our buddies, was talking about how he started dating this girl. Everything was great. He's really into her, but he's got that sinking feeling that he doesn't have any of the control anymore, right? Everything is on her terms. She's got all the power, the upper hand, and we all know that when a girl has all that power, that's a recipe for disaster. So he asks us, what can I do to get the upper hand back? He was still in contact with her. She hadn't ended things completely yet, but she was losing attraction, and he wanted to know what type of things could he do to reignite some of that attraction that she had felt. So Rob and I gave him 3 tips that really help you regain that upper hand with a girl. So I want to share the 3 tips I gave him with you in this video. So the first tip is to ration your time and attention. One of the first things that our friend was complaining about was that he had a more flexible schedule than the girl he's dating. We've all been there, right? Where, it's always her dictating when we hang out. You're always wondering if Tuesday night's not good for her, and you're kind of basing everything around it. Or like he's moving his schedule, right? He was actually moving his schedule around to accommodate her. And it was obvious that she had all of what we call the time power, right? In a relationship, the person with the higher status doesn't see the other person's time as valuable, and the lower status person usually appears to have an abundance of time, and this allows them to be taken for granted. And it's very easy, it happens all the time. Just like anything in life, the more abundant a resource is, the less valuable it is to the other person. So you need to apply some scarcity to your time. See, when the woman is the only one in the relationship who has things competing for her attention, she starts controlling everything. The guy sees her time as more valuable than his, and he starts being afraid to be unavailable. We've all been there. Maybe he thinks, if I can't hang out tonight, I might not get to see her till next week, and then she might find somebody else and forget about me. So he cancels his other plans to make sure that he gets a chance to see her. And she starts getting used to the notion that he's always flexible. So she thinks to herself that, she doesn't have to be. She can make him change his plans. Now, the thing is, when a girl has a tight schedule, very often we don't want to turn down a chance to hang out with her. It's human nature. I don't blame you if you're in that situation. So how can we still ration our time with her? Well, one way is to apply scarcity to your time is to introduce a time constraint. Anytime that you make plans with her, you can say something like, hey, yeah, we can grab coffee, but I gotta be out by 6, or I can only stay for an hour. If you talk on the phone and you're talking, or you say, hey, I thought I'd call you because I have a quick 10 minutes, but I gotta be off the phone at noon because whatever. And give some brief hint of a reason. You don't have to go into it with a bit long excuse. It's best if you have activities in your life that make this plausible, right? You're not making it up. But even if you don't, you still should do this, because it'll make her see your time as having value again. And that's very, very important. It's the principle of time constraint. It also applies to calling a girl back and responding to her text. So if a girl calls you, especially if we haven't heard from her in a while, we get really excited and we want to pick up the phone right away or text her back right away. And sometimes you can, but other times it's wise to miss the call, then call her back in 10 or 15 minutes. The sub-communication is that you have competition for your time too. Now, some guys want to play the game and they think, I'm not going to call her back until tomorrow. I'm not going to text her back until Tuesday. But I want to give you a better, sneakier, and way more effective way to control the timing. Here's what you do. So you wait till a certain time, maybe it's right before you go to bed. So she texted you early in the day. Now, right before you go to bed, you text her and you say, hey, I saw you called. I'll hit you up tomorrow. Because you're dictating that it's going to happen tomorrow. And to make it more powerful, you make her wait till later in the day for you to return the call. What's cool is that it makes her think, if he had time to text me before he went to bed, why didn't he just call me then, right? Is he with somebody else? What's going on? And it gets her mind spinning like yours is. We all know that the more she thinks about you, the more she falls for you, right? It's even more powerful than simply not calling until tomorrow. Okay, tip number 2 is subtle but powerful. Ask the girl for a favor. Yeah, it's counterintuitive, but there's a psychology behind it. See, we talk a lot about how it never works out, like when nice guys use favors, and he thinks that doing a favor and trying to be a white knight is gonna win her over, and it doesn't work. But most guys never think about the fact that the inverse is true. While trying to do her favors will, I don't wanna say it will repel her, but it kinda loses a little bit of your appeal. If you get her to do you a favor, it attracts her. This is because of something due to the principle of effort justification. The more effort we put into something, the more invested we become. It's why it's really hard for us to walk away from a girl who we put a lot of effort in. Weirdly though, we notice that with clients that the less effort a woman is putting in usually causes a guy to put more effort in. It's like she gives a tiny bit and then he gives a lot. Well, what we're having you do, and what I'm recommending, is you do that in reverse when you ask her to do you a favor, because normally it's the opposite, right? Normally you're driving her to the airport, you're moving her furniture, you're giving her advice. Well, you reverse that when you say, hey, can you give me a ride somewhere? Or can you walk my dog while I'm at work on Tuesday, right? It could be anything, right? There are a few reasons though that this works. First, it shows some dominance. You're asking her to put some work in. A needy, nice guy, especially when a girl's pulling away, is way too scared to do that. Second, while she's doing you the favor, it makes her feel more invested in you. She thinks, if I'm doing this, it must be because I really do like this guy, or else I wouldn't bother, right? She justifies it in her own mind. Now, another reason that it works to ask her to do a favor is that we all feel good when we help somebody, right? That's why a lot of nice guys do nice guy behavior, because it makes them feel good about themselves. So asking her to do a favor gives her the opportunity to take care of you, which is essentially something that females like to do. So you don't have to ask her for something huge, right? Something monumental. It doesn't have to be a big favor, but it should be something that requires her to take some time out of her day and invest a little bit of energy back into you. So let's discuss the next tip. Tip number 3 is pull back your interest a bit. Now, you don't want to overdo this, because if you do it wrong and you act way too cold, it can kill the chemistry. However, in small doses, it really, really works. In essence, what you're doing is you're mirroring her a bit, right? On the surface, you act like everything is fine, sort of like she's acting. You're not confronting her, you're not breaking up with her, you're not seeming upset or needy that she's pulling away. You just pull back a little bit of yourself, sort of like I said, what she's doing. Here's the important part though. It cannot appear like a reaction to her behavior. She can't think that you're upset or anything, or else this won't work. It has to feel to her that you're genuinely losing a bit of interest in her. One thing that we always tell clients is never reward bad behavior. Now, unfortunately, that's what most guys do. When a girl does go cold, they get even hotter thinking that they're gonna convince her to stay. But in reality, you're rewarding her bad behavior, which makes her lose respect for you. So instead, you wanna make slight changes that make her feel like her charm is wearing off. Because here's the thing, as human beings, we hate losing something, right? She feels special and important, and when you seem less enchanted with her, it compels her to try harder to impress you again. And here's the thing, a woman can only feel attraction when she's trying to impress you. So doing things like acting a little less enthusiastic to hear from her, a little less certain about her. And really, as Rob and I teach in the Scrambler, the subtle, under the radar things are the most effective. For example, if you always listen to her problems and give her advice when she's kind of feeling down or she's got something going on, This time, just change the subject. If you always agree with her, disagree with her on something that she'll notice. The point is to show her that her control over you is beginning to wane. And don't explain yourself. This is key. This is so important. So if she's like, is something bothering you? Is something wrong? Do not tell her that you're acting this way because of how she's acting. Be like, no, everything's fine, right? Everything's fine. Seem a little distracted, right? Your whole attitude is like something's going on. Leave her wondering, what is going on? Are you interested in somebody else? Is she losing you? Because that draws her back in. A lot of guys want the grand gesture to get her back. I want to send her flowers or whatever. And because of this, they make all the common mistakes I talk about in my 5 mistakes men make when a girl pulls away video. If you haven't watched that, I'll put a link. But there's no single grand gesture that restores the power dynamic or gets you that upper hand back. What works is these subtle little things that you start applying. Most of them are under the radar, right? She's not gonna know what you're doing. Now, you don't have to wait until you've lost the power to use this either. When you start dating someone new, one of the things you want to do is make a conscious effort to apply these techniques right away, right? On a first date, maybe she tells you about something she saw online. Tell her, hey, send me that link, right? Get her working right away. Because now when she goes home, she's got to do something for you, right? You got her investing in you. When you're setting up a date with her, use a time constraint. Control the timing, right? You can do these things right from the beginning. Now, if you think you're making subtle mistakes like our friend was, what I recommend is taking our short 7-question quiz, because it reveals all the mistakes you might be making without even realizing it. And you can take the quiz at the link below. You'll get 7 common situations that you'll face with a girl, and then you'll get to choose the answer that responds to how you would normally honestly act. And then you'll get your score, and you also get a customized plan for winning the girl back. It's all free, so click the link below and take the short quiz. And if you like this video, hit like, leave a comment, and make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss future videos.